Hi folks, welcome to Get Real Survival in the Outdoors. Today's video is going to be about the core survival items I keep on me, mainly around my neck and in my pockets. I will talk at the end of the video about some things I keep on my belt. The items I keep on my belt would be a water filter with a bottle holder, of course, a fixed blade knife, and perhaps a waterproof pouch. Anyway, the first items I want to go to are the items I keep around my neck. These items are at the bottom of this picture, and they are a compass, whistle. The compass actually has a mirror, flashlight, a ferro rod with striker, and a little tender tube. I'll show you what it looks like when it's set up in just a second. Here's the lanyard setup I keep around my neck. As you can notice from left to right, I have a Suunto MC2 small mirror compass. I have a whistle, a flashlight. I have some jute twine and the little tender tubes, which is great fire starter, lasts a long time, and also gives you extended reach if you don't want to put your fingers right next to, let's say, a fuel tab or some kind of fire source. To the right of that is a hard steel striker, and to the right of that is an Uberleben ferro rod. It is the least expensive one Uberleben makes. It is about $16 retail. I think it's called a Zunden Traditional, and it is just a really nice all-around fire starter. I also have a bigger fire starter. Actually, I got a few fire starters, but I have a bigger Uberleben, the 6-inch Hexa, and it's probably the nicest ferro rod I've used. But it's also bigger and heavier, and that goes in my pack, but it doesn't go in my pockets. Now, at the top of this lanyard, you're going to notice a piece of tubing there. This tubing does two things. First, it has a cushion around my neck. If I'm not, let's say I'm wearing a t-shirt, which is normally not what I'm going to wear when in the outdoors, okay? Also, if need be, that tubing will fit on a water filter, and I can use it to drink from a water source, like let's say a stream, to where I don't have to bend down quite as far to get to my water. I don't have to put my face right next to the water to drink it. That's why that is there. Oh, by the way, you see this orange bandana? It's not just for background. This goes in my back pocket of my pants. Okay? In fact, most of these items on this lanyard I'll probably stick in a chest pocket of my shirt. If you're wondering what I wear out there, well, I'm going fishing. Okay? I'm not a big bushcrafter or some survival expert, camper, hiker. I'm just going fishing along a stream, and I carry this for emergencies. Okay? Now, what I wear a fishing shirt. Normally it has 4 or 5 pockets. It has a collar. And I also wear either cargo shorts and they're zip-off pants. So they have long pants legs that zip off. So I can convert them. That's what I wear, and everything I'm going to show you in this video will get in my pockets and it won't fill them up all the way. So this is what I put around my neck. The next thing is going to be another core item. There's going to be a few core items, but I'm going to shoot the first 3 are the most important. The next core item is an emergency blanket. This is an SOL extra large emergency blanket. I like it. It's just a little bigger than the regular one. Gives me a little more coverage. I just think it's probably a little more useful than the regular one. Although the regular blanket is great. If that's what you got, it will work just fine. But anyway, this is the SOL HD emergency blanket. I'm going to show you another SOL blanket that I can also put in my pocket, but it's not necessarily great for the pockets. It's a little bigger, a little heavier. The green blanket here is the SOL extra large heavy duty emergency blanket. It's bigger and heavier, and it's around the borderline for what I would put in my pockets. But it is a heavier duty material, and it should last longer, be a little more durable out there than the XL. This is what it folds down to. And I normally put a Velcro strap around it to keep it as compact as possible. The next thing I'm going to show you is a third core item. We're going to go to my knife and knife sharpener. Okay, here is my knife and knife sharpener combo. As you notice, it's also on a lanyard too. Okay, by the way, these orange lanyards are SOL utility tender cord. They actually have a little fire cord inside them. I found them to be a very versatile type of cordage and I use them for most of my lanyards. Anyway, the knife is a Victorinox Ranger 78 Swiss Army knife. It has a 4-inch blade, basically, maybe a little less, and the same size saw. It has an awl, Phillips head screwdriver, can opener, and bottle opener also. It's a great all-around tool, and for me, it's got the right size. If I got one knife I'm going to carry out there, since I'm not a serious bushcrafter, I don't really think I'm going to be batoning a lot of wood, it's going to be this one. Okay, now, speaking of batoning wood, I actually saw a video from a guy in England, and yes, he had it unfolded, not straight, but 90-degree angle, and was batoning wood, and he'd been using it for about a year, and he said it worked fine. What I consider to be the three most important tools on this multi-tool, this knife, are the blade, which locks, the saw, which doesn't, and the awl, as you see on the right. Now, a lot of people use the saw blade as a striker for a ferro rod because it has a 90-degree spine, but it doesn't lock, so you got to be a little careful with it. What I found is I use the sharp edge of the awl. The way you use it, it locks it in place, and it is a very good fire striker. Anyway, that's the main part of the cutting tool. And you notice the sharpener, it's a Gerber sharpener, has coarse and fine settings. It's part of actually a kit that's called a Paraframe combo, which on my website that I'm creating, I will be selling. I'll be also using as part of a kit, survival kits. That Paraframe combo has a 3-inch folding knife, has a ferro rod with striker, which is surprisingly good, and this sharpener, which again has coarse and fine sides and works really well. It works just as good or better than an AccuSharp I have that's very similar. Also, that kit, that Paraframe combo, has a whistle with it too. Now, I'm going to show you another knife that I'm not necessarily going to carry in my pockets all the time, but it's a great alternative if you don't want something as large as the Victorinox Ranger 78. Before I go on to that smaller multi-tool, I want to show you what my setup is for my Ranger knife and my sharpener. I use the lanyard to go around my belt loop and my belt and my shorts or my pants. And then this is a double pistol magazine holder. And basically I put the Ranger 78 in one side and the sharpener in another. Or if I need to use this other side for, let's say, a pistol mag or something that I deem more important than the sharpener, I just leave the sharpener on the outside of this. So basically, it doesn't go in my pockets, but it goes on my belt, and it's not going anywhere the way I have it set up. This multi-tool is the Roxxon Flex Companion multi-tool. It is smaller than the Victorinox by a fair amount, but it's also lighter, and it might be a good option for someone who just doesn't want to carry that big a knife in their pocket or on their belt, or they have a fixed blade knife, they just want something smaller. The blade on this one I think is D2 steel, and the cutting edge is 2.5 inches long, and it locks in place, okay? And if I push this all the way back, I can literally take this blade off and replace it with another one. So every tool on this multi-tool, on this knife, you can do the same thing with it, okay? They are all replaceable. Here's the multi-tool with its saw blade extended. Once again, it locks in place, which is very nice to have, and it does strike a ferro rod very well. I'm going to demonstrate this right now. Once again, all these tools lock. Here's the Roxxon Flex Companion with all its basic tools out. This is a basic set. This knife retails at $50. By the way, the Victorinox knife retails at $88. As you can see though, here we go. D2 blade. It's got a file with a straight edge screwdriver on it and a ruler. It has an awl, a saw, and scissors. Oh yeah, and the bottom of it, it's got a bit driver. And everything but the bit driver, you can take off the knife and replace it with any of the replacement tools that are made for this knife. And there's at least 20, probably more, tools that are made for this knife that you can mix and match it. You can have yourself whatever system you want. So it's a really nice little knife, neat idea. Here's some other items I tend to keep in my pockets. You can see there's a fire kit on the bottom. There's some stormproof matches also, bottom left. There's a little first aid kit, a boo-boo kit, food. There's some electrolyte packets. There's cordage. That is Atwood Tactical 275 paracord. It is a paracord that's rated at 275 pound strength. It's thinner than 550 cord. It's about the same size as Bankline, but what it has is it's easier to work with. It's not as stiff. Doesn't have as much memory. You can tie a knot in it better. And I think 275 pound string is probably enough to use, especially in an emergency. Now on the top left, you got Kleenexes. You know, we can use those for. By the way, I also carry wipes, but not necessarily in my pocket. They might go in my fishing vest, something like that. And top right is a package of like 10 2-foot strips of trail marking tape, which can really be helpful if you get lost, or just to, if you're staying someplace, put a couple pieces of tape, maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6, whatever, around your location so people can find you. If there's any breeze, they're going to blow and move. That's one of the first things people look at is movement. Now, in just a second, I'm going to show you what is in my fire kit. This is a 2x3 Ziploc plastic bag, and you might be surprised what you can put inside that bag. Here's what's in that little bag. On the left, you see this is an Exertac fire rod. The rod, it unscrews from the handle, and actually the handle can keep 1 or 2 pieces of like a tender tab in there, so it breaks down, fits in that bag. I've got a striker for it, again, one of these hardened steel strikers. And then I have a Bic lighter with a little sleeve on it to help protect it, keep it from, from getting turned on by accident and losing all its fuel, and also to keep it more waterproof. On the top left are some tender tabs, and in that bag are some more tender tabs and some small pieces of fat wood, which I can use as a longer burning source of tinder if I need to start a fire. And remember, I have my regular fire rod and one of those little jute cord bellows tubes, tinder attachments on my neck. So with this, I'm pretty well set for starting fires. Okay, then I'm going to show you a boo-boo kit in just a second too. Here's my boo-boo kit. On the left is a small tube of triple antibiotic ointment, and on the right is the rest of the equipment in that bag. I have 6 alcohol pads, 2 4x4 gauze pads, and another at least 6 waterproof Band-Aids. The alcohol pads can use a disinfectant wound, and they can also be used as a fire starter. By the way, I will also carry a tourniquet somewhere on me, probably on my belt. The last thing I might put in my pockets would be a good pair of gloves. Just get a decent pair of leather work gloves. These are from 511 Tactical, and I don't use them really tactical. I use them as work gloves. It's not an absolute necessity, but it's a really good safety idea. You don't want your hands getting messed up when you're out there. When I go to saw wood, cut anything that might be difficult, I got these gloves on. Same thing if I'm picking up firewood or tinder, I got my gloves on. Remove a pot from a fire, got my gloves on. Okay, that is basically it for things that I might have on my belt or my pockets. Next thing I'm going to show you is the bigger, belt items. On my belt, I'm most likely going to carry a Mora Companion Spark in its sheath. Now, I own 3 different fixed blade knives. I own a Mora Companion Spark, which is my newest one. I own a Mora Bushcraft, which is the original knife I bought. And I also own an SE4. Out of all this, I might go with the Mora Bushcraft as my first knife, and here's why. First, the blade, it's a 4-inch blade, but if you look, it's not a real thick blade. I think it's going to work better to let's say, fillet a fish, gut an animal. Plus, it also has a built-in fire rod in the handle. Yeah, I know, I look like a firebug, don't I? And this fire rod works great. Okay? So this is my choice for a belt knife. This item will go on my belt, and I think it's one of the 2 or 3 most important items I'm going to have out there. This is my water bottle with filter. As you see, I have a nesting cup with a steel nesting cup and a skeletal, very lightweight water bottle holder. I also have water bottle holders, a regular one and a large one with the pouches and everything. But just to be a lightweight item, this is what I'm going with. Now, the bottle and filter combo is by Rapid Pure. And I've just come across this bottle and filter combo, and I think it's going to be a real good one to have. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Okay, this water bottle with a filter. First, the filter. It's similar to a Grail in that it has a carbon fiber element in it, but it's a little different. I think it has a ceramic type element for the regular filter, and then it has the carbon fiber on it. It's rated for like 100 gallons, something like that. And it's a lighter. I have a Grail too, and this is just a lighter version of it. Again, I'm going light. If I got a pack, the Grail's going with me, and a stainless bottle is going with me too. By the way, I own water filters, 2 Sawyer Minis. I own a Red Cross personal water filter, Membrane Solutions water filter, Grail. I own this bottle. I also have a Sawyer bottle with filter that I haven't used yet. In fact, I'll probably wind up selling that. But anyway, I've got several different water options that I can use, because without water, you got a good chance of dying out there if you're out there longer than 2 or 3 days. One of the unique features about this water bottle and filter combo is the cap and filter system. The cap will fit on a regular wide mouth Nalgene bottle, and I've also tried it on a Vargo stainless steel bottle and a Pathfinder stainless steel bottle, and it fits. So I'm actually going to probably do a separate video on this filter water and bottle combo by itself, because I mean it's something, I call it a unicorn. Something I haven't seen that, something that actually now fits these stainless steel bottles. So anyway, this is what I'm going for primarily as a water filter. And yes, I'm going to have a Sawyer or Red Cross or Membrane Solutions, maybe in my pocket. If I can fit them in there, it's not too heavy, not too bulky, possibly. But I'll have them in my fly fishing vest or my bag, My pack is going to has 2 water bottle holders. I'll have this on my waist, and I'll have the water bottle holder, so I'll have a Grail and a stainless steel bottle with it too. The last 2 things I'm going to show you in this video are completely optional, but they're nice add-ons if you don't mind the extra weight or bulk. The top thing is just a 6x6 MOLLE pouch, and it works really good to put all those basic items in if you don't want to put them in your pockets. You can also take that water bottle holder I had with the Rapid Pure bottle and put it on these MOLLE straps, okay? The other thing, this is a waterproof pouch on a waist pack. It's a 1 unit. It's by Rothco. But I can fit all kinds of stuff in here. I can fit more food. I can fit my Silky Gomboy 210 folding saw. Again, an extra emergency blanket, all kinds of stuff. It also it also has these little loops on it to where you can go ahead and put Velcro, I don't know, Velcro straps, and put something like, wrap a poncho up, put it on the outside. You know, maybe a thicker emergency blanket like the SOL All Seasons blanket, sport utility blanket, which is more like a tarp, so it has double duty it can serve. So anyway, here's the idea, and there's all kinds, by the way, there's all kinds of pouches you can put on your belt. I've probably got half a dozen of them at least in the house. Well, I said that was going to be it from the video, but I just decided to show you something else. This is a 511 All-Halla pouch. You can put it on a backpack. It's got MOLLE. You can put it on your belt. It is waterproof. It's mildly insulated. They say you can put a couple of cold beers or whatever in there, but whatever. And it's 5 liters. I've got this kitted out. I can strap a poncho or, again, one of those SOL utility blankets. And I've also got carabiners to where I can hang like a water bottle or something else. Or I can put a couple of Velcro straps and maybe put a rain suit or, you know, my SOL escape bivvy, something like that in there. And this is a very nice thing to have. It's not super expensive. It sells for 45 bucks, but it's a little bulky just to put on your waist. I use one of these on the waist belt of a 511 Skyweight 36 liter pack that I have. And I've also put this on a H-harness and battle belt combo as something that I can wear instead of a waist pack that will keep the weight off my hips. I have a bad back and a bad leg, so I can't put a lot of weight on my hips, and I have to try and keep the weight of my pockets and my pants down to not necessarily a minimum, but I can't go crazy with it or it will affect me. What I'm doing is I'm going out fishing, and I'm not going to be hiking more than a mile or two a day. So I'm not carrying a heck of a lot of stuff. I'm not probably going to be out there for 4, 5, or 6 days, or though I might just do a video one of these days of me staying out there for 3 or 4 days, or let's say however long I can get out there with the minimal equipment. And I also carry a Big Agnes folding chair in its bag, and I've actually made a survival kit out of that. I also made kind of a survival kit and bedroll, which I think I'm going to make a separate video of that too. Anyway, I swear, that's it for today. Honest. No more. I'm not going to put you through any more of this. So for all the people, all 2 or 3 of you, whatever, who have watched this whole video, thank you very much for watching it. And have a great day. And if you want to maybe purchase some of these items in another month or 2, I will have my website up. It will be getrealsurvival.com. And I'll also be starting a Facebook group. Once again, everybody, have a nice day. Thanks for watching.